Dexter plays They Are Billions by Numantain Games. Welcome back to They Are Billions. We're doing an after-action report on the Broken Lands. Just finished this run, about 3.5 hours. 320 Empire points, 300 technology points. The Broken Lands. This place looks like it was flooded a long time ago. The highest lands have formed a set of islands connected by natural bridges. It is a region rich in resources, but it is a complicated location to build a large colony. In addition, there are ancient doomed villages on several of the islands, and many infected have been concentrating on the high ground after the flood. Build a large colony and kill all the infected in the region, as well as the swarms that approach the colony. So we have to destroy all infected, which is clearing all of the guys on the map. Colony pop of 1,600. I think 1,600 is about, I think it's 2 markets worth of maybe 3/4. It's 1.5 markets of things. I think of population in terms of how many markets do I have to drop and surround by housing. And each one is about 1,000 a total if you get them all upgraded to stone. Anyway, then resist all swarms of infected. As it turns out, I think the first opportunity is day 50 something, and the next one is 64.5. So, you have until then, and then the total time is destroy all the villages, but the total time is, 80 days. So we're going to have some concentration. This means this isn't just purely a build like the last one was. Build real fast and then defend. This one's going to be, a hack and slash along the way. So we'll see how that goes. I'm also up at the point where I should be seeing, and I will see a lot of specials. So I'll see Big Berthas, I'll see, Harpies, and I'll see Spitters. So I'll have to worry about all of those as I go through this. When we spawned in, we came in at the bottom center of the map. The railroad tracks in and out are through, right through the bottom. So I won't have to worry about securing railroad tracks with gates and things. So I do have the opportunity just to throw up walls if I want to. And then the build area is fairly concentrated. I have an exit, a land bridge off to the northeast and off to the northwest. And as I look at the initial land bridges, by the time I hit about, the 11th hour, on this first day, I can see that I have the upper or the northwest side is got a desert or a plain looking area. It doesn't have grassland. And to the northeast, it looks like there's some grassland. And if that's true, then I'm going to want to go farms to the northeast, houses to the northwest. At least that's what I'm thinking at this point in time. I haven't seen the map, so there's that. I think after you play it a couple of times, you'll have a better idea of where you want to throw concentrations of buildings. It's also readily apparent that I'm going to have a restriction on some of my resources, particularly wood. I have some initial stone, and I can see to the northwest that there's a little bit of stone. So I'm going to want to clear out one area. I'm going to clear out northwest first, because I want to build my housing first, and then go with the farmland. And to that end, I think what I'm going to do is I'll go ahead and start to build out facing northwestish with my housing. I'm going to need to focus on housing again. I think every time we get into a mission, focusing on housing to get the gold going is important. But also because I can see there's a constraint, I'm going to want to maximize my food and my wood, and of course the stone. I think there's only enough room to put one quarry down on the stone, so that's just a simple find the best place. But when it comes to the lumber mills, I think there's a little bit of a best placement thing going on there, and once you know where that is, that'll work out pretty well for you. And it takes me a little while before I get to the point where I'm ready to put down wood. I don't need to for the initial part. Really all I'm doing is just expanding the rangers out to the northwest. But once I get the first sawmill down around day 2, that's when I start to think about, well, where is all my best stuff? So typically I find that putting your sawmill down on the highest possible number is not the most effective way of getting lumber. If you mess with it a little bit, usually you can get 2 lumber mills in that give you a total higher than if you put one down in the max and then found a place to put the next one. So I don't know if that's intentional by the map developers. If it is, kudos, because that means that, you know, as you advance in gameplay, you start to realize that there's a better way to maximize, which isn't as obvious as your initial gameplay, which should change the way the game plays. It kind of does. And we got some early fishing huts out there. We got some hunting cottages out there. So that's working out pretty well for me. And I think I start to put down a soldier center when it hits around day 3. I get the soldier center down. And I need to do that because I know if I'm going to do a lot of clearing, I need to get some units out. So I'm going to go early for my soldier center. Still continuing to clear to the northwest with my rangers. That's coming along well. I also throw down a wood shop early. The wood shop dropped right around late in day 3. So early day 3 was the soldier center. Late day 3 is the wood shop to get that going. And continuing to push out on my housing and setting up a little spot for where my market will go. I find that as I'm pumping out stuff, I'm choosing now. I'm looking right around day 5, and the Rangers I have historically felt were the best unit. They have good DPS. They have great speed. They're really handy. They're quiet, so they're really handy to get in, snipe a few things, get out. I like them for that. The only thing is I've been having a really hard time with the spitters because 2 spits on a ranger kills them. And because it's area of effect, you could lose up to a dozen rangers in an engagement in no time if you're not really spending a lot of time micromanaging. And I did that in the last couple episodes where I was micromanaging like crazy on the spitters. So I've been thinking a lot about it. I've been trying out soldiers here. And as it turns out, as we'll see by the end of this run, soldiers are really good with spitters, and they're actually very effective. So I've done a disservice in pushing rangers. I think the rangers have their place. Like I said, really handy for getting out there, pulling stuff in. The stuff that I did with the harpies, for example, running out there with rangers and running the harpies back around where the defenses are. The rangers are really the only thing that can keep in front of a harpy. Soldiers can't keep in front of harpies, so they will get hit a few times as they try to make a retreat. But, yeah, I get a couple of soldiers out and I start to push out there on the middle of day 5. I have like 3 soldiers going, and I'm going to keep cranking out soldiers as fast as I can as I expand on my housing. And one of the earliest things I'm going to do with my wood shop is get the market so that I can drop the market down, and it completes somewhere around day 6-ish. That market will give me the food back that I need for some more expansion and also some more soldiers. And then I'm going to go straight into cottages from there, and then I'll go into farms. The rangers keep pushing down, and I find that if I go to the northwest and then head southwest along that edge, I'm finding that this is the edge of the map. All right, which is good. The rangers still, 4 of them are effective enough to push the edge of the map, which is, you know, it's not very fast, but they're also not my primary group that's trying to clear stuff. My soldiers now are, and they're going up to the northeast and clearing out, and I quickly get my first village Doom down around day 10. And that allowed me to get up to where there's some iron. And so what I have done is I've also researched turrets because I know that this is going to be an issue. And right around day 10, hour 8, I throw down one of my first turrets to guard the northwest as I put down another stone quarry. On the northeast, I'm going to be pushing down with my soldiers. I find a little bit of an extent down to the southeast from that island. And so I'm going to keep a couple of soldiers up there for guards on that island to the northwest. And I'm going to expand down to the northeast, see where that goes. And I quickly find that there's another land bridge down there, but without keeping my eye on it, I do have some leakage, so I got to be careful about that. I think at day 12, around the 18th hour, I had a number come in, a couple of zombies come in and start to infest my colony, and that was easily stopped. But again, it's a wake-up call to make sure I have some kind of cover as I do that. I am continuing to do upgrades to wood in my main base as I expand all the way to the edge of the southeast. So that's going to be, now I'm starting to think about where my zombies, my horde's going to come in. I've got a horde coming in on day 22. So I'm going to want to secure both the southeast and southwest entrances. I expand, I think on the 13th day, around maybe even the 14th day, I've expanded down to the southwest spot where I can start putting down some walls, which I do that around the day 14, 6th hour. I put the walls down on the southwest entrance to begin to secure that. Also to the southeast, I've got that going. And so I just need to expand my energy coverage down there. And I'm able to start dropping walls around day 15, hour 15. So I've got walls on those two sides. I will want to put up a ballista on each, which I also follow up shortly with, and begin to clear out to the northeast heading north. So there's another village of doom up there, and this is where the soldiers really start to shine. This is the point where I become convinced the soldiers are maybe something I need to do on a more regular basis. They're getting their vet status. They're pushing into what is obviously a very high concentration of villages of doom, and I've seen a number of spitters come in and they spit on these guys and they just shrug it off. And when I go to look at it, I realize that the soldiers' armor is at 50 or 68%, and they have a 50% resistance to venom. So when they get spit on, it's kind of like, yeah, okay. They can get spit on a number of times before one of them goes down. So if you've got a consistent barrage of acid, you still have to back out. But it's not like the Rangers where I can't get hit. If I get hit once, I'm really at a risk of losing everybody at the second shot. But they get up there and start clearing that stuff out, and I start to make some pretty decent progress. I do put up a wall on that island to the northeast, to the north of that, because of how much I'm getting pressured. I'm solidifying my southeast border a bit and the northeast border a bit. And then I end up having to find another place to start to expand out my housing. And so I decided to put it off to the northeast. I could have done it to the northwest, but I got a warehouse. And also because that island is centrally located, I have an island on the southeast side that can be a buffer before I hit housing. And as we know, once the zombies get to houses, everything's over. So putting them more centrally located, I think, is a better choice, defensively speaking, especially if you're not sure just how bad these hordes are going to be. So anyway, we get in there, clear out the villages of doom on that one island. I'm able to come back around to the northwest with my soldiers and start to clear up that area a little bit so that I can try to secure both the Northwest's island's north side and west side. So that's where I'm going next, because I know I've got 2 days before something comes in. I'm not likely to push far enough. And I can see that on that northwest island, west has a number of islands of doom, which I try to get cleared out before I have to worry about dealing with the incoming zombie horde on the day 22. Day 22 does arrive, and we have a horde that comes in from the west. And I've already now reached to the point where I can see the north side of the west entrance, and I've already secured the south side of the west entrance. So I need just to worry about putting up a little bit of a wall on the west side of that island so that I can preempt, because I can't reach out there with my with the energy by that point in time. The pylons won't get out there quick enough. So I get a couple of ballistas down. I get some wasps down because I've done the stone workshop and I've studied up the wasps. So the southwest entrance is pretty solid. And so when they come in on the southwest entrance, which is awesome. I do bring my soldiers down, but down on day 23, they hit the wall, and between the soldiers and the wasps and the ballistas, the water up against the side of a break, not a problem. So we move in, preparing for the next wave that's going to come for day 36. And I continue to expand up the northwest side and come around there to try to clear out some more villages of doom. Again, I'm finding that my soldiers are doing pretty well. And by day 27, I'm up to 44 soldiers. And they're doing really well. I got pushed pretty hard on day 27. I think I came across two groups. I didn't know it at the time, but there's two sets of Villages of Doom where they are. There's one to the west of them, and there's one to the north of them, and they both are pouring in a bunch of guys, and I have to pull back, and I think I'll lose a couple of soldiers at that point. But I am able to get to the west side's north entrance and start to secure that with some walls and start to beef that up. Okay, so once you make it to an edge, beef it up and, secure it so that you can kind of ignore that edge. But I do peek into that upper northwest section of the map and find those Villages of Doom I was talking about. And we clear that stuff out and find a whole big old iron deposit up there and an island, which is really nice. And it's secure. Anything island off to the side like that, typically speaking, when a horde comes in, it's drawing, you can kind of draw a shortest path possible between the entrance and the command center, and that's basically where they're going to go. The only thing that influences them some is if they see a building, they'll move towards the building to take it, to capture it, to get more zombies and convert it. So that will draw them. Also, if they get engaged in people, you can pull zombies away with people. But in a place like this island up here in the northwest is almost defended without anything. As long as you leave some space there at the land bridge so there's nothing there, the zombies aren't usually going to go up and around the corner to go up there and do all, go up there and infest all that stuff. And even so, you could drop some walls there, and that's a pretty defensible place. So not only could you put iron up there, you could conceivably make a colony up there with some housing and stuff, which I didn't do, but I point that out as an opportunity. Whenever you see an island off to the side like that, it's a great place to consider putting a bunch of houses and stuff so that, zombies, it's kind of defended by zombies both by location and by walls. So we are then continuing to expand. I'm pushing the north side because I want to see if I can clear this stuff out before the horde. And I do find the north entrance. And as it turns out, there's only one entrance to the north that's up there, and I'm going to try to expand up there while I come out to try to pop some more Villages of Doom. And as I come back from the north heading east, I run into what can only be referred to as a gaggle of Big Berthas. That's a lot of damage to be putting out. They soak up a lot of DPS, so I have to keep pulling back. And there's Harpies, there's Big Berthas. It's pretty tough. I mean, it takes me a while of some, stepping back and shooting before I can get them all. And I do lose a few soldiers that I have to replace, but that's fine. I do consistently keep running into some power problems. Because of the lack of wood on this map, I am not going power stations. I'm not doing power plants. Power plants will take off they'll take off 10 lumber in your growth. I'm only producing 87 by day 35, and that's not enough to be powering power plants and trying to build out stuff, because you need wood to build out your houses, you need wood to build out everything else. So I can't go that route. It means I have to do mills, which also means that the tech advantage of the mill in the tech tree, which will boost your mill output, and it doesn't say how much, but even 30% would be huge. On this map, 1/3 less of these mills would be very welcome. It would help me keep up with my power much better. But yeah, don't drop power plants on this map is my advice. Don't drop the power plants. You don't have enough wood to deal with it. I finally get a chance to push down, and I get the last of the Villages of Doom, just prior to day 36, I think, or just around day 36. I'm still pushing in for a few more, and I've decided at this point I'm going to commit. I'm committing to getting these last guys, and we'll see. So when the thing finally, when the 36th day horde finally pops, and they're coming in from the east, and I have two potential possibilities on the east: the secured south end or the as yet unsecured north end. And so when we wait, I'm going to let the time click down. I get down to the spawning of the horde, and it looks like they're coming in on the north side of east, which I might be able to intercept where I'm at, but I finish off all of the last Villages of Doom. In case I have to deal with it, my northeast island that now I've populated with a lot of buildings, I secure heavily. I drop down as many of my ballistas as I can get nice and close. There's 3 ballistas down. I start to populate the sides with wasps. I put up stone walls. That's all on day 36, like at 23rd hour. And I continue to clear to see where these guys are going to come in. And it seems like, no, they don't come in from the northeast side. They come in from the east-south side. And they keep coming against a whole bunch of wasps, a couple of executors. I don't have anybody else here defending this wall, and it's going to have to stand on its own because I'm out of place. And because I'm a little worried about it, on day 37 around hour 10, I do drop down a 3rd executor and put up some more walls so that if they do punch through, I have another executor do some more damage, some more DPS, and I can move my guys back in time, hopefully to intercept all this. But we don't do that just yet. We're going to let it cruise as the way it is. I continue to secure the north wall. That's around day 37, 23rd hour, day 38. And the soldiers just continue to clear. I've got a lot of ground space now cleared out. And my expansion is falling behind. I think I could have expanded a little bit faster. I might have been able to path my soldiers a little bit better to allow that. But instead I was going for edges, and I got out to the very northeast side, found another massive clump of Villages of Doom, and I take them out, and I think I've got the last of those up there by day 39, around hour 15. Continue to expand my housing. I have hit the 1600 cap already. So getting more housing for the purposes of my victory condition is not required, but for getting it for purposes of cash is. I do come down from the south side of that northeast end, get in, and then come back to see, have I got all my Villages of Doom? Yes. And you can see that on day 41, I think around 0 hour, you'll see that I take a look at my victory conditions and I can see that my colony pop has been satisfied and I've destroyed all the Villages of Doom, but I haven't destroyed all the infected and I haven't also cleared out cleared out all the swarms. So I've got a swarm coming on day 50. I get out there and I do find eventually the east entrance from the north side. So now I'm going to be prioritizing a push to that wall so that I can secure it. I clear out everything there. And then I feel like I look at the map and I'm like, but I thought I got everybody. Why do I still have, to clear invested? Well, I did have a small, horde show up on my north wall at day 41 around 17th hour, which I really don't even go up there and look at. They just see it on the map. And so clearly they just came up and didn't even hit the wall, because at no point do I have to do a repair up there, which is kind of nice. So now at day 42-ish, I'm at the point where I'm just expanding. I'm doing some securing. This is all growth. I no longer have to go around and look for stuff. I do throw my rangers on chase mode to go out and see if if there's anything I missed on the map, go get it. My thought being, if it's outside of the walls, I don't have to worry about that because they'll eventually come in and my guns will get that. The rangers should get anything on the inside of the wall. Well, as it turns out, they get outside somehow. I find some rangers on the southeast, wall outside. I mean, you can even see them on day 44, like hour 20. You'll see that there's a couple of rangers outside my wall on the northeast side, I think. So I'm like, oh, north. No, that's not them. But yeah, I have some out there and I end up just leaving them there. The rangers are like, whatever. Yeah, there we go. Day 45, hour 21. You can see that there's 2 rangers out in the southeast past the wall. And it's just, oh, well, guess you guys are stuck. They must have glitched out there. That's the only way they could have gotten out there. There's no way they could get through the wall. They must have wandered out while the map wasn't there, and they found, the game just decided, yeah, I'll warp you over there. But at this point, I start to build out my defenses. And you can kind of see an effort of that right around day 47 at hour 8. You can see I'm starting to place executors. And the thing I'm looking for is whether the area of attack is overlapping just over the wall. If I can get any part of my radius outside the front wall, then I'll put something down. Otherwise, I'm not. I'm not trying to protect something after they take out a wall. I'm trying to put as much DPS as I possibly can to just in front of the wall, so that hopefully I can keep them from breaking through. Because if they have enough weight to start taking down a wall, I might be in some trouble. But that's all I do, is I build up my walls until the day 50 horde comes in. Once the day 50 horde triggers, I get it from the north. And I have already solidified my north wall quite extensively. I think that's probably the cleanest, most geometrically appropriate look. And you can see with day 51, hour 4, they can't even push through to the wall. They're not even getting to the wall. So this defense is solid. But I'm also given the notice that I have a day 64 horde. So I'm going to have to go to day 64 to be successful with this. So I decided to drop down a couple of engineering centers and get some executors popping out. And of course, at this point, I'm just throwing out a ton of houses. I'm throwing out farms. I'm throwing out mills to get power. And I'm just waiting and building up for day 64. I've already solidified for day 50. There's very little I can do for day 64. So then I start putting in some little, they're like mini forts. I put down an executor with 2 wasps surrounded by stone walls behind my wall line, so that if they do break through, I do have something that might whittle away at what's coming through. And then, of course, I throw some other things down. I've got my wonder down, and so I'm just waiting for day 64 to come around. When day 64 does come around, I think it's like day 63, I get the notice that the infestation is coming in. They're going to be swarming. You can actually see day 63, 14th hour. I have my radius put up. You can kind of see around each of the walls how much overlap there is in my defenses. So it looks pretty good. So I'm just waiting for them to come in. And when they do come in, they hit me on, hit the walls on day 64, right? Like on the button. And then they just keep coming. 64 into 65. The last of them don't finish off until day 65 around hour 23. So then I go into purchasing my tech. And as far as the tech goes, I have 300 points, so that's like 2 pieces of tech. And I've decided what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy so an increase to my soldier health. So I get the medicine. And after the medicine, I buy the, what did I buy? Shock tower, plasma spheres. Cause I saw some shock towers in action and thought, oh my God, those things are awesome. So we're going to give that a try. So that's the after action report on the Broken Lands. I hope you enjoyed. If you did watch the whole thing, if not, there you go for just a quick walkthrough on what to do with it. And we will see you on the next episode. Take care. Bye-bye.
Creeping through the shadows in the corners of your mind. I go where the wind blows. I run but I don't hide. I hear the call of the wild, whispering the name. No, I can't be tamed. My heart belongs to the night. I'm alone, I'm alone, I'm a lone wolf. 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 I'm a